Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So slightly different video today. Basically I've decided to do something completely different to my normal beauty slash fashion type videos, and I'm actually going to be doing something that's more like a chatty video. I know I don't really do vlogs anymore, and I don't really do them purely because my life really isn't very interesting and it would just be a case of me just sitting at my desk all the time and pretty much doing this. So instead of like my vlogs, I mean I might still do them every so often, but instead of that I've decided to focus on a few different topics on some of my videos. I get quite a lot of messages, you know, whether it's from Facebook or emails and different things like that, and basically people just ask me how I sort of coped through school or how I do and deal with different things to do with blogging. So I've decided to kind of chuck them in a video like this. I don't know how often they'll be up. They might be like sort of in with my schedule of Wednesdays or Sundays, or they might just be random videos that I sort of pull together every so often, but we will see. And let me know if you like them. If you don't like them, then I will just stop doing them, but I thought it might answer a few of your questions. So the first topic that I've decided to cover is based around school. Now whether that's like primary school, secondary school, college, university, sixth form, whatever. I didn't go to sixth form, but I'm doing everything else, and I personally had a really shit time at school, and you know, up until university, in fact up until this year, I had a really bad time in education. It wasn't the actual education side of things, but it was more like the personal side of things that I think is what people struggle with most. Now like I said, I really wasn't popular at school. I like literally was probably, if there was like a food chain, I was nearer to the bottom. I didn't have many friends, I was a bit of a loser. I probably made friends with the teachers more than I actually did with the students, and I was just considered a bit of a geek, if I'm honest. So I'm definitely not going to be one of those people that were really popular that turn around and say, you know, school's going to be the best time of your life, you're going to enjoy it, because I know for a fact that I absolutely hated it, and I know there's going to be loads of other people out there that hate it as well, or that are worried about hating it, or worried about, you know, what happens if these people are mean to me. So if you're transferring schools like I did, or if you are going into college or something like that, you know, it's not a set way for every single person, and there's so many people out there, including my parents, that will still always say to me, oh, but it was the best years of your life. And the past year of me being in uni has had to be probably the best year of my life. Obviously I know I'm still in education, but to be honest I don't go that much. I do a lot of other things as opposed to actually going to uni. I do a lot more work outside of that, and it's been the best year or so of my life, I'd say. Obviously there's a few personal things that happen, you know, regardless of whether you're in education or not, but I think generally I really like living now as opposed to life back then, if that makes any sense. So let's just get straight onto it. I'm going to be doing 5 different points of things that you either need to remember or that I found out throughout school. So point number 1, and this is probably my favourite of them all, and it is that popular isn't actually popular. Every single school has so many different cliques. Like they all have the girls and the boys that are really popular, and they're all like 10 times more beautiful than pretty much anyone else. Somehow they learn how to apply makeup way before anyone else. But you know what I mean, they're basically the cool group, and pretty much every single school that I've ever heard of has a cool group, and I like to call them the plastics purely because of like a Mean Girls reference, but they don't have to necessarily be caked in makeup or anything like that. They're just the people that seem a lot popular than everyone else. So I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, everyone wanted to be friends with the popular people. And there was one time when me and my friends fell out, and it was over something stupid, but the popular people basically took me under their wing and decided to turn me into like a popular girl. It was literally like a Mean Girls sort of moment. I was friendly with them for a few weeks until I realised that they were actually doing it as a joke. They had all these diaries that they then decided to put out in front of me and just look at my reaction to find that they'd just been bitching about me in these diaries, and it was really horrendous at the time. But now I'm thinking about it, that sort of little 2-week period of my life actually gave me a lot of information. It was like I was doing some sort of research into how the other half live or something, because I found out that the popular people, they aren't actually all that popular. Now obviously this is a personal experience for me, so it might not be exactly the same for you, but for me I found out that all of the popular group, they all bitched about each other, and half of them did not like each other, half of them wanted to be friends with other people that weren't in different groups, half of them had like their boyfriends cheat on them, half of them were just bitching about each other all the time basically, and it really wasn't like a nice close-knit group of friendship basically. It was just a massive bitching fest. Now I think the most interesting thing about this whole situation is the fact that I found out that not many people actually like the popular people. which kind of makes you wonder where they got their popular name from. I think it's the whole like facade of popular people, like again in Mean Girls, I'm just using this as a reference, how no one really liked them as a group, but you sort of just looked at them because they were really good looking and you were still kind of jealous of them, but as people they weren't actually very nice on their own. They weren't anything overly impressive if you were just to speak to one of them. They were just more of like a massive group of people that just sort of took over the entire school basically. I spoke to a lot of people when obviously that whole situation happened and I was really upset, and it turns out that a lot of people had actually had similar situations and these people didn't actually like them, but they wouldn't openly admit it to other people. It was like a top secret thing that you wouldn't say that you didn't like the plastic girls or whatever, purely because they would come down on you like a ton of bricks and they would bitch about you and they would make your life hell. So everyone basically pretended to like these people, so much so that it convinced you to like these people as well, because that was like the done thing to do. But yeah, that was basically a long-winded way of saying that even though everything might seem perfect on the outside for all these popular people, they're not all that popular actually, because I'm sure if you went around to most of the people that were considered unpopular in your school, they wouldn't actually like these girls that much or even these guys that much. So if you're not in the popular group, then don't worry, because popularity at school really doesn't mean popularity like the rest of the world does. In fact, from my point of view, it kind of meant the exact opposite. And point number 2, which is you can actually make your own career. So personally for me, I mean obviously I blog as a job now, which is amazing, and I do YouTube as sort of like a part-time job, and loads of people have asked me, oh, what qualifications did you take to do that? What did you do? Like what different paths and different steps did you take to get involved in that? And it was just something that I did myself. There's so much pressure at school to take all of these different steps and take all these different classes to be like a doctor or a lawyer, whatever it is you want to be, but at the end of the day, even though it's not something that I should be saying because that means that no one will really try, your GCSEs don't actually matter. My GCSEs don't actually count anymore. I think they run out after 5 years, but do correct me if I'm wrong. So now that is completely null and void for me, and my A-levels are still with me, but you can pretty much get into college with just about any grade, depending on, you know, how creative you are and what you do as like another outlet. So I could go into college basically and go to an interview and just have the most amazing portfolio and maybe have like just passes and everything else, and I could still get a place in that college because I had a really good portfolio. So basically what I'm trying to say is, if you want to go and do dance, or if you want to go and do art or something and you're worried that it's not going to really amount to anything, then really don't worry about it, because at the end of the day, like I said, you do make your own career. If there's something that you really do want to do, if you do want to become an actress, then you'll find different ways of becoming an actress than through a few GCSE dance classes. I mean, let's face it, you're not going to become a dancer just by doing GCSE dance for like a year or something like that. So instead, actually just go out and enjoy yourself and do the different things that you want to do. Work hard, but just actually focus on the things that you want to do, whether that is in school or whether it's out of school, and then your career will slowly sort of form its way as you go along. I mean, I never thought fashion blogging could have become a job. I never even really knew it existed at that age, but it's just somehow where I've ended up, and it's the perfect job for me. And you can basically make your own job. If I can make like a living off of sitting on the internet, then pretty much anything is possible, I think. So just make sure you keep an eye on the prize. I think that's a good quote, and I don't know who it's from, but keep an eye on that prize and you will slowly guide your way towards the prize that is your career. But still try hard at school, because I don't want to be the reason that you guys fail. Point number 3 is don't give in to peer pressure, and this can mean anything from sex to smoking to going out to drinking, whatever. I mean, I'm going to put it out there. Sex isn't all that great. I mean, it can be great. I'm not going to go into a big overly in-depth conversation about my sex life, but especially when you're younger, sex is like all hyped up and everyone thinks when you lose your virginity it's going to be amazing, and it's not. It hurts. Well, it hurt me anyway, and I would not say that sexual encounter was anywhere near the top of my favourite sexual moments. So for me personally, I wasn't actually like pushed into having sex by my friends or anything like that. It was like a personal choice. But I know so many people that get stressed out, and I've had so many comments before saying to me like, you know, how do I know when it's the right time to have sex with someone, or, you know, should I go out drinking because all of my friends are? And if you want to, you know, I'm not going to say do it because, you know, you might be underage or something, but to be honest, I did. I think a lot of people do go out and do stupid things when they're too young, but if you want to do it, then you know, that's your choice. If you don't want to do it, then don't do it, because you're not missing out on anything at all. You're going to have sex at some point. If you want to drink, you can drink at some point. If you want to smoke, not that I necessarily recommend it, you can smoke at some point. You know, you have loads and loads of time to do all of these different things. So definitely don't worry about being considered uncool or anything like that if you don't do these things, because I don't know about you, but I would much rather give my virginity away to someone that I wanted to, as opposed to someone that I regret it with. And regret is never a cool thing. Again, the same with pretty much anything else in the world. You know, drinking, drugs, smoking, whatever you want. It all depends on what you want to do, and if you end up sort of doing something because someone else wants you to do it and then you regret it, that's always going to be sort of in the back of your mind, and you're always going to also kind of have a slight negative feeling towards that person or people for making you do that. So it's just not a healthy thing, and like I said, you have plenty of time to go and have sex with people and drink loads and, or not loads, and smoke and just be a ridiculous adult human being. So while you're under the age of 16 or 18 or 21, wherever you are, just actually act that age. And even though I can't say this exactly from experience, because I was never like the perfect child when I was younger, just do what you're meant to do at that age, and yeah, just be good, be safe. That being said, we move on to number 4, which is make mistakes. I had my hair countless different colours when I was younger. I pierced too many bits of my body when I was younger, and I pissed off my mum so much when I was younger. But you know what? I kind of think it's better to get it all out of the way. Obviously, doing it with safe things. I'm not saying to go and do loads of drugs when you're really young just so you get it out of your system when you're older. But for things like that, just do the stupid things when you're younger, because then you can sort of decide how you want to be when you're older. Like for me, I know that I just bleached the hell out of my hair and it looked horrendous, and I tried all these different colours, and it went through so many different processes of being like stripped back and all the things like that. So I know now that this hair colour is pretty much the best one for me. I mean, I could always go darker or lighter or something, but I know that all of these other hair colours that I tried don't actually look that great. And same with my eyebrows. I plucked my eyebrows pretty much off my entire head, and I know that that wasn't a good look. So now I know, in my older age, where people actually tend to look at you a bit more and take you a bit more seriously, that I shouldn't pluck my eyebrows that much. Now obviously I am talking about things that are more visible than anything else, but it kind of counts for pretty much everything. Now again, be safe. I really don't want to encourage you guys to go and make really stupid mistakes, but just a few little things that you might think, I really want to try that. Go ahead and try it, and if you don't like it, then you'll know that you don't like it in the future. For example, if I didn't get loads of piercings in my face, then now I'd sort of think to myself, yeah, you know what, I'm going to get loads and loads of piercings in my face, and they might not heal back as quick, and I'd end up with loads of these holes in my face. And obviously with jobs and interviews and all of that sort of thing, people tend to look at your face, or just you in general, more than they would if you were like a 15-year-old. So I think it does actually work better in your favour if you do stupid things like that. Maybe don't get a million piercings in your face, because I'm not sure it looks overly good on anyone. But yeah, if you want to try something new, just go ahead and try it, because otherwise you'll get to my age or older or whatever, and you'll regret not doing things when you're younger, or not even regret them, you'll regret that you did them at this older age. So if I went and dyed my hair pink now, I would look at myself and think, wow, that looks horrendous on me. But because I did it before, I know that it does look horrendous on me, so I'm just going to completely dismiss that box of hair dye whenever I go past it in the supermarket. And finally on to number 5, which is school isn't everything, and I cannot stress this enough. I am walking proof that you don't have to be overly popular in school just to be a functional human being at the end of it all. If you don't have many friends actually in your class or even in your school, who cares? You probably have loads of friends outside of school as well. Same goes with boys. If there aren't many good looking boys in your class, who cares? You'll come across like the best looking guy ever somewhere random, like in a shop or something. And what if you don't get the grades that you always wanted? I mean, who cares? A good grade is always great. A bad grade, you know, it sucks for 10 minutes, and then you sort of think to yourself, is this random sort of GCSE actually going to affect my life in any way? Probably not. For example, at one point I took business and I barely went to any of the classes and I barely listened. It was one of those classes where I always fell asleep in, and I was always told by all of my lecturers that I would never amount to anything in terms of business. There was no way I was ever going to start my business. Stay clear of the business world completely. And now I guess you could say that my blog is kind of like a business in itself, and I run that perfectly fine. So I didn't need the actual qualification at the end of it to say whether or not I could do it. At the time, I know that school always seems like such a massive thing because it takes up, like 18 plus years of your life. But there is actually life after school, and I promise you that so long as you try your hardest, it will actually get a lot better. So I think the moral of this video is basically not to stress yourself out too much just about school, because even though it does seem like such a huge part of your life at that time, it's not your life entirely. If you are having a tough time at school, just talk to people, but essentially just push through it. Make your own way, just do what you want to do and enjoy yourself more as a person. Don't necessarily worry about how many other people actually like you, because at the end of the day, when you all leave school and when everyone else goes to different unis or different colleges or whatever, you're still going to be left with you. So actually just focus on you as a person, and if you actually end up liking yourself and doing things that actually make you happy, then that's all that matters really, because let's face it, by the time you get to my age, you're probably not going to see many of the people that you went to school with. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did like it. That way I know whether or not to do any more of these style videos. Please subscribe as well if you did enjoy it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.